There is nobody to compare it.
I just feel like I
Yes,
need
sir.
to record all of this because it's so good. Okay.
Like, let's do it. Like, okay, you.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life in Mandyland. I can't stop listening to this. Okay, but I'm gonna turn off just for a second so we can talk. But I already had this divine being's music going, and I just want to keep it going. But I'm in the presence of him, and I'm super excited. But welcome in. As you all know, I am healing my inner child as I'm doing this. The child within me that was told all of these horrible things or made me feel that way. And this is me, my higher self, my the love that, that was always there, that I could wrap myself up in that and say it's okay and it's safe. It's safe. It's safe for me to be me. It's safe for me to love myself and to be able to share my love here with myself and with everyone. Um, but yeah, that's one reason why we're doing the podcast. Second reason, I want to raise up the real leaders of the world. That's just where I'm at. I'm pinpointing the real leaders and I want to raise them up and I feel like it's impacting the entire world and I have one with me today. And the third reason is to live life and share love together and be in this special moment together. And um, yeah, this is what we have in this now moment. And with that said, I need to real quick, briefly, I'm just going to say that I met Gary. Um, well, we did a previous podcast, and he was so gracious to do another one with me because we did a beautiful 2.5 hours, and it was so amazing. And I bawled my eyes out because I'm like, oh, I wanted this so bad. And the love that came back when he said, let's do it again and redo it. And I was like, what? Like I did not expect that. I was just trying to process what I was feeling. And so anyway, here we are. And but yeah, I came across this music that has lit up my soul and his gates, which we'll get all into that. But the music and the love and the community that he's built on TikTok and he's built it in other places too. And just the love and the respect and the community of family. And I want to spread that far and wide. And I feel like his everything he is that. And we talked about the fire, and we're gonna get all into the things. But I am just thank you. Thank you so much for doing this with me, for saying yes, for being this in this space because like I said, it's a ripple effect. And I know people feel this and we'll get into the music and everything. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. And when we started, but I would like for you to, however you want to do it, but I would love for people to know you. And I know that when we started, you said,
It's a scary thing.
well, when we started, you had said that it's very like when you hear other people, when other people are playing your music or other people are listening to your music, or like you don't want them, you want them to look at themselves and not you. And I'm feel the exact same way. I do. But I wanted you to elaborate just a little bit on that, if you.
Well, talking about the music and its creational process, it's it's not about me. Okay. And what I mean by that is I'm not seeking for you to acknowledge me in any way or whatsoever, other than here's a gift for you. Okay. And the music, the process it's an entire process that I call arc. And I've been working, on this in and out over many, many, many years. I mean, as a DJ way back in my youth, the whole beauty about, the play stage or the sound stage was watching how people could interact and move with that music. And I had this discussion yesterday with somebody about, you know, life and the harmonics of life. Okay. Life is a harmony. It's a harmonical resonant frequency. So we can look at energy, frequency, and vibration, power of three. So in this musical exploration and expansion that I've been delving into, okay, I've taken all of my knowledge of my experiences in life, for one, my personal experiences, challenges, the fires that I've that I've managed to come out of. How? That's creator knows. Okay. And in the process of creating this, I started out with just making music for myself because I understand frequencies very well. Okay. My hearing is extremely fine tuned. So I hear things that a majority of people don't hear. Okay. And I always say, listen to the whispers in the wind because it helps you to fine tune that hearing aspect things, rustling of leaves and so on. So in this essence of creation of this music, art is the concept behind it, or say, I can say the technology because I am using technology as well. It's not just, my words and my writings and, my multiple layers that I'm putting into it. I'm using technology, the artist that started out with the ukulele, okay, before technology, it was the tool was the ukulele, but the artist, the creator, was the person behind the tool.
Mhm.
So whether it's a ukulele or whether it's a paintbrush, the core of it is the source. The source is, of course, you, the artist, whatever you want to call yourself, okay? And the expansion of what you want to maybe say or create visually. And so my arcs are journeys, okay? They're not just a piece of music. It's more than music, okay? It's layered in with knowledge of frequencies, as an example, solfeggio tones, binaural, 3D ambience, audio soundstage. And that all comes from that background and experience of a DJ, going to concerts. It's like, okay, why am I at this concert? I want to get close to that sonic impact,
Mhm.
to really feel the music. I want to, there it goes, right down to the silica of my toenails curl, so to speak. Okay. So understanding how the recording industry also works. We used to be at 432 hertz, frequency of nature. We tune musical instruments to 432. Okay. And then we do the different notes and the different frequencies or sub frequencies of whatever we're tuning that music to, A, D, F, whatever. Okay. Now we come into how can that lead into what does it affect the body with? Okay. The body is a receptor. So it receives, it's like an antenna. It receives everything around us, what we sense, what we smell, what we listen to. Okay. And at 432, there's a natural harmony. Walk into a forest. What happens? The forest is singing to you. You just are not attuned to it. You're attuned to your mind space. Okay. Escapism, avoidism, you name it. Okay. So there was something that changed in the recording industry. We went from 432 to 440 hertz.
Mhm.
So when you listen to the radio, it's not 432, it's 440 recordings. That's a majority of everything that's recorded in the musical industry sound, period. Okay. It's at the 440 frequency. And that gets into a little bit of a rabbit hole. Okay. That was changed by elitisms because 440 has actually been proven that it allows the mind to have a subliminal receptivity. It means that the mind can be programmed just on that frequency and other elements can come into it. So I have a passion for any type of music, really. Well, there are some styles of music I won't listen to because it's aggressive. It's attacking. It's negative. It makes you feel icky. High pitched screams and there can be a Viking call, which is fine, but there can be a Viking call that is a call to war.
Right.
And so, how does that affect you? Okay. Again, it's a somatic response on one side, but it's also a sonic response on another side because it hits the central nervous system. So that music cranked you. It's like, okay, you listen to it, you go talk to somebody, and you're,
Mhm.
you're ready to rip somebody off, and you don't understand why.
Mhm.
And so, art is alchemical resonant coherence. Alchemical, alchemy, resonant, the resonance of sound, frequency, vibration. Okay, we'll go into that level of it. And then coherence, mind, body, spirit connection. And so I've been playing around with, you know, multiple different programs and creating music for a number of years, just for my own, just for my own listening. I don't want to hear certain things because I know how it affects my body.
Mhm.
There's certain instruments that, as much as I love musical instruments, there are some that goes, "Ew."
Mhm.
It just does something that just, no, I don't like that. My body's not, it's not tuning to this. So our bodies are like a tuning fork.
Mhm.
Everything here, sight, all the sensorial around us. Okay. So when I released the first piece of music that I was talked into releasing on TikTok, because one of my clients had heard this music in the background that was playing, was going, "Gary, what is that music?" "Well, that's mine." "Huh?" "Yeah." She said, "Everybody's got to hear this." And I was like, I'm not so sure about this because, I'm involving personal story. I
Right.
mean, and then I'm depth of personal story, the fires, the fires that we face, the challenges, the grief, the loss, the mind fuckery. Okay. The whys, the what ifs, the what fors, the how comes, the poor me attitude, seeking exterior validation for somebody to acknowledge me in my sorrows. Okay. And we all do this. I mean, and that's part of our human nature is to be part of community, to be accepted, to feel part of something. Okay. But we've lost the essence of what community truly is.
Mhm.
In today's world, it's instant gratification, instant, Google it, there it is, my answer. You look at people walking on the streets, they're on their telephones, they're in the restaurants, they're as a couple, but they're on their telephones. Okay. They're not talking to each other. There's no intercommunicational skills that used to be.
Mhm.
Like you used to walk into a coffee house, it was a complete chatter house. Or even in a bar and going and listening to jazz. I mean, there was still lots of talk going on.
Mhm.
Now, if you go to those same places, there's some talk going on, and sometimes the talk is they're talking to somebody on their telephone
Mhm.
with somebody sitting right in front of them. So distortion and separation of our identifications, our identities. We're seeking to be told we are somebody. Why? That look in the mirror. There you are. Who do you see? Or who are you trying to be seen by others? And it's a choice that we make. And the majority of us walk with a mask.
Mhm.
We make ourselves up, we doll ourselves up, we paint ourselves up. Okay. That goes for both genders in today's world. Okay. We're not going to go into that one. Okay. And in that essence of it, when I first played that first piece of music, okay, it was really a call, pulling you back into the heart frequency, which ties into what the Heartfire Chronicles is all about. Heartfire Chronicles is about the remembrance, remembering who you are, remembering the flame, the fire within you. Okay. And many of us use the fire, but we use that fire to hurt,
Mhm.
okay, or to manipulate, or to control. Okay. We're misusing our flame. Okay. And our flame is very, very powerful. It
Mhm.
can burn a village. That's how powerful that energy is that's within us. So when that first piece of music, I played it in the TikTok live, the response was, it just blew my mind. I never, ever thought I'd get that kind of response. Okay. I mean, the emotional response. I mean, I know what it did for me. Like I played it to retouch my emotion because it was my emotion. It was my story. It's based on an experience. Okay. Whether it was my own personal experience with myself and, the fires, or whether it was through mentoring and life skill management with others and listening to their stories, because we all have a story.
Yeah.
So, as a storyteller, is probably the best way to explain really what I am. I'm a storyteller. And that storyteller portrays or comes out through now music, or it comes out through aromatic botanical creations, or it comes out through meditation. So I do all of these different levels that really tie down into the core of one thing, an alchemical resonant coherence. Smell produces a resonant coherence around it. A memory is recalled. Smelling of fresh baked bread, for example.
Mm.
It's like, does that take you back maybe to grandmother, great grandmother, mother, a circumstance? So this sensorial response is based upon all of the senses. And part of my background is what's called a phytoaromacologist. So that is aromatology, which is a separation of aromatherapy. Aromatherapy is pretty much pure science. You can get into that one. Okay. We have two styles of aromatherapy. We have the European version of aromatherapy and a North American version of aromatherapy. European version of it is medical. I mean, it's you just do not give essential oils to people without the knowledge, true knowledge, okay, and understanding of not just the substance or the extract, but also the human body, because there's a direct correlation between this. Okay, North America, it's more of selling a product. Bottom line, okay, the background of many of the aromatherapists may understand the plants, but they don't understand the response to the body, its nervous system, its sensorial response. So aromatology was a spin-off of the SSI Institute, which was all based upon perfumery, you know, and that we'll get in that one shortly. Okay. So aromatology was the natural smell, and how does it affect body, mind, and spirit? The sensorial response. They take in that smell. What's it doing to me? What's it doing to my mind? What's it doing to my body? And also, what's it doing to my spirit?
Mm-hmm.
So that's, in essence, aromatology. Phyto is everything to do with the plant world, everything to do with the flora. And that can be from the earth itself, the muds, sands. Okay. We can go on and on and on how much beauty nature has for us and how much medicine she has. Are you aware that when you walk into a forest, the trees recognize you
Mm.
and they start releasing compounds into the airspace because they sense the stress? And the compounds coming from those trees and right down to the fungi, everything within that forest is now releasing medicine that you are not aware of that's affecting the body, mind, and spirit. You
Mm-hmm.
slow down. You come from the busy city,
Mm-hmm.
you get into that forest, takes a little bit, and all of a sudden, the mind slows down.
Can I
The
say
breath
something
deep.
about that really quick?
Yeah.
Whenever I my grandbaby, my newest one, she's almost 6 months old. And I noticed the difference. Like if we're inside and like everything's going on and maybe the TV's on or we're watching a movie or whatever. And then I can tell when she needs like a change of pace. And so I'll walk outside with her. I mean, my nervous system already calms down when I walk outside. And with the trees, the life and everything that's out there. But I'll walk out there with her, and I mean, suddenly it's just like she's just looking around and she's just taking it all in. And it just like calms you. I'm watching it happen for her, you know? It's just like the minute, I tell people that all the time. I'm like, just take, if you need that moment, just walk outside, take in all the life that's outside. And I'm watching this baby, her whole nervous system and everything just you know what I mean? It's just beautiful. So yeah, go ahead. I had to share that.
And when we're in the box, the house, that's a box. That's what it is. Four corners, box. There's no flow in the energy around you, like there is outside. The moment you step outside, there's no obstructions as there is inside the box. Inside that box, there's lots of stuff going on. The electricity
Mm,
produces a frequency. Everything, lights, produces frequencies, and it's producing noise. Okay, that's actually a stressor.
mhm,
Okay, you think, okay, I turn on the light switch, you don't hear it, you might hear a click, okay, but it's enough that the accumulation of what's happening inside that box raises the stress levels. The city is designed that way to raise the stress levels. The noise of the ambulance, the police cars, everything around you, the city lights, the distortion from the natural energetic flow or the ebb and flow of life around us. Okay. You don't see a bunch of animals trying to run across the street. Well, per se.
mhm,
Okay. You don't see a bunch of animals coming at each other. But yet in the city, how many times do you see aggressivity? How many times do you see, okay, the frowns, not looking at anybody? It's like looking down or on the phone. Then you walk out in the middle of traffic and you wonder why that car had to slam on its brakes. Then because there's certain laws, it's like, okay, the pedestrian has the right of way. But excuse me, there's a little bit of common sense here. You walked out blind and you expect a 2,000 or 4,000 pound hunk of metal to stop on a dime because you didn't look right or left. I grew up where we didn't have telephones. We looked before we crossed the street. Okay. Always. We rode our bike, same thing, hand signals. We did all of now. It's a fucking free for all.
mm, mhm,
You have to be so aware of your surroundings driving that alone is a stress.
mhm.
So now let's get outside of the box, the city, which is a big box. Now you get into a forest. There are no boxes. There are no corners. Everything is in a flow. Songbirds,
Yeah,
honeybees,
yeah.
dragonflies, okay, flowers, trees, mosses, winds. It's all in a ebb and flow of freedom. So coming back to the music, it's the same thing. It's creating an ebb and flow. And so arc goes through a series of gates. So I have a series. It can be a series of 4, 6, 9, 12 gates. And it's a journey. It's not just music. The first gate is an opener. Think of it as a portal.
Mm,
So we're going from one gate to the next portal, to the next portal, to the next portal. And then using somatics embedded into the story, frequencies that are healing, solfeggio tones, the recording frequency, the precision of the digital ambience, Okay, because it's a digital world. So this is a digital production.
Mm.
It's not sitting on a soundstage with a bunch of people playing musical instruments. Okay, it is using technology, recording my voice, choosing the instruments that I want, that I know heal. Okay, where somebody would say, well, that instrument from that culture and that instrument from that culture and or whatever, that doesn't really mash. It does if you're truly listening. So as I'm placing the instruments, the tempos, the frequencies, I'm listening. How is it treating me? What's my response? What's my body response? I'm in full awareness. So place it together, fine tune it, play it back. And as I'm listening to it, I close my eyes. Where does it take me? So yes, I'm listening to my own voice and other layered voices. Okay. But what is it? How am I responding to this? Okay. Am I on edge? Am I softening? And then is something else happening? So the whole story, again, as it unfolds, is going into your story.
Mm.
Using, you know, calls like I am statements for an example. Okay. Or the journey of the fire, or the journey to grief, or the journey through uh, anger, release, surrender, acceptance, vulnerability, fragility, the hurts, the sorrows, the things that almost every human has buried because they're afraid to be in their heart frequency. Okay. And when I talk about heart frequency, I'm not just going into what a lot of the perception is love and light. There's love and light, and there's fire and water. There's both. There is the light, there is the shadow. You can't run away from your shadows. And everybody's running away from the shadows, running away from their hurts to a certain point, but still milking the hurts from the yesterdays, still holding on to the traumas, the
Mm.
blames, the anger, okay? And then closing themselves down to the point where the heart is so locked down that it's nothing more than you're a walking zombie. Okay, you become almost emotionless, or you become erratic.
Right.
Okay, drama. It's like call for attention, to be validated. Okay, to go see a reader and say, okay, like validate my sorrows, tell me what my futures are. Fix my problems. Why? Why not taking the responsibility, assuming the responsibility of self, sitting in your pain, sitting in your sorrow, but don't stay there.
Right.
Don't let it become you. And this is what happens with a lot of people with grief, is that they become the grief
Yeah.
versus the power that grief has in helping you remember something. Love was always there, still is, but you've blinded yourself because you're top heavy. The whys, the what fors, the how comes, the poor me, all of that. And holding on to something that is no longer there, except the memory.
Mm.
Power of memory
Mm.
takes us right back to the very source of everything. The joy, just as much as the sorrow. So when we can sit in it, we can identify maybe triggers. We have a trigger about we spark. Why? Where does it come from? I mean, that can happen for many, many reasons. Somebody's coming at you in an attacking manner. Okay, there's a trigger there. It's normal.
Right.
Okay. But is there a trigger that happens because of something that you've buried so deep that you're not aware of it anymore? But your inner child is. Your inner child is holding on to all of it,
Mm.
everything. since day one. Every experience, every emotion, every learning, that inner child has walked with you and still walks. And so when we reconnect to the inner child, we reconnect to the eternal flame,
Mm.
the flame within us, the heart, the voice of the heart. And that's where the music is taking. It's evolving in a way that sees how the human responds. So as I'm evolving with this and the techniques and the fine tuning, I'm seeing the responses. And that's what, through the Heartfire Chronicles, with all the comments and the responses so far of people who have bought the music and coming back and saying, Gary, when I listen to this with wired headsets, it takes me someplace. Yeah, it does. It
Mm.
takes you back to you.
It
It
does.
takes you back to you.
It does. And
You
that's
know,
why I said that. That's why I told you that, like in the very beginning, I was like, I can't stop listening to this because it takes me back to myself. The inner child ones too, because you have a lot, you have a portal even for that inner child, and I oh my gosh. And me healing my inner child, and I feel like I've been doing that for a long time, and I'll probably continue to. I'm always going to find places to love on that little being inside of myself. And your music, it just, I mean, really helps with that. And I notice that when people come into the room, people stop, they listen, they're engaged and they are engulfed. I absolutely love it. I actually wanted to ask you too, like, I want to find out like who was musically in your family? Like, was it your parents? Were they into music? Did they play instruments or
my my mom, my mother loved music. She sang all the time, danced all the time. Okay, she taught me to dance. She was a little tiny boy. I'd stand on her feet, and she'd hold my hands, and we'd dance in the kitchen. And my real father, I don't know, but my stepfather, who I consider to be my real father, played a guitar, and my grandfather played the accordion. That wasn't really my favorite instrument, okay, but he played the accordion, the spoons, and I've been around pretty much people all my life that played instruments, musical instruments. I play the guitar. I haven't picked it up in years, but I played the guitar when I was very young. And then my father had actually gifted me his old acoustic guitar. Okay, and you know played with it here on and then. Okay, I've got experience also, like now, experience with a little bit with the hand pan and crystal singing bowls and Tibetan bowls and other sounding instruments, rattles, for an example, rain drums, as the shaman, in the shamanic path that I follow, there's a lot of instruments that are used. Okay. As much as we use the natural environment, we also use natural instruments, drumming, for an example. Okay. Rain drums, even beating on a log. Okay. In fact, some of the very first instruments were beating on logs.
yeah.
Okay. Just getting the heartbeat. Okay. And in a lot of my arcs, there's a heartbeat.
Mm.
Okay. And it's tuned to really slow you down. Okay. As much as some of the music is very euphoric, there's still a heartbeat.
Mhm.
Every piece has a heartbeat in it. Okay. And sometimes the heartbeat's a little faster, sometimes it's a little slower, but it's not taking you to a point where you're hyperventilating, so to speak. Okay. So that musical influence, from people around me and just passion for music. I love music. I'm an audiophile. I mean, I had an album collection that was unbelievable. And as a DJ, you should have seen the collection of, vinyls I had too. Okay. And that's just something that's always been a passion. You know, when I get into, any vehicle I've bought, I'm not satisfied with the sound system that's in it. It sucks. Okay. So I'll rip it out and I'll do what I need to do to get that sound stage. It's not a bouncing boombox like a
Mhm.
lot of them going down the street. Okay, no, I'm I tune it to be a sound stage. I want to be able to close my eyes when I'm sitting in that vehicle and know where the instrument is,
Mm.
not overwhelmed with woof. Okay. Do I like the bass? Yes, I do. Okay. But there's a sonic resonance in bass that can be very healing.
Mm.
So the music takes on that path. Every instrument in the music is known for its healing capacity. No matter if it's a steel drum or if it's a handpan or if it's a drone flute or whatever the instrument, cellos, wind, string, okay, pianos, all of those musical instruments are layered in. Okay. I try to avoid on the electronic side of things, trance side of things. As much as like I can get into trance music, I can get into EDM, I can get into dubstep, and whatever the music is, because I can feel it, and when it hits me, my body moves,
Mm.
and I allow that body to move because now the body's in the weave,
Mm.
and that comes into weaving. And what sacred energy is because the music is now allowing me to connect into its frequency, but also connect into my own frequency.
Mhm.
So healing process in using somatics is also getting the body to move, the response to the emotion, okay, to breathe. How many pieces of my music have you heard? It's telling you, breathe in,
Mm.
breathe out, okay? You
Mhm.
know, you know, come sit down.
Mhm.
That's the call that's layered into that music so that the story as it unravels with you becomes you, takes you to you. And each person will have their own experience.
Mm.
Okay. Some, it's going to make you bawl. It's going to pull out the pain.
Mm.
It's going to go really, really deep. And you may at a point say, I can't listen to this. Okay. But
Mm.
you come back to it.
Mhm.
Like the arc that I put up on YouTube called The Ashen Veil. That's not for the meek or the weak. That's for those that are really just willing to step into it.
I listened to that a
Because
few times last night.
it it it's I was hesitant about putting that one up because it's a trigger.
Mhm.
It's a really serious trigger.
Mhm.
I mean, it's going into a depth of a fear that many don't want to face.
Right.
But if you're willing to put the effort into it,
Mhm.
it'll help you.
Mhm.
I guarantee you, it'll help. Because even me, in the process of creating it, unlocked hidden fears.
Mm.
Like it was mind blowing. I just like I played this back a number of times, and all of a sudden something clicked, and I went, "Holy patita!" Like I totally buried that. So that's the music in
Mm.
what it is, and I don't call them songs. I don't call them tracks. I call them gates. Whether it's a single piece produced or a series produced.
Mm.
Okay. And when somebody asks me, "Well, Gary, can I have just the one song?" You're missing the whole thing. Is that if it's produced as a series, it's a journey.
Mm.
So if you only take one part of it, you're missing the journey. So the albums, whether they're 4, 6, 9, 12, there's reason for those numbers. Okay. And it takes you on that journey. So you start slowly. Okay. And then it weaves into the next one, into the next one. And by the time the full gate journey has taken place, something shifts. And that's not just coming from me, from my perspective. That's coming from what I see
Mhm.
and what has been is coming back to me as the feedback.
Mhm.
So there already, I know it's doing something, even though I was sure 99%, okay, that this is going to impact. So the same thing with, how do we talk about human exploitation? it's a very touchy subject because there's a lot of garbage out there,
Mm.
okay, and a lot of distortion from the truth.
Right.
So, you know, you know, the songs, for an example, in the Wind series, is about the voices of the children
Mm.
that I hear that many people don't, and something I've heard all my life. You know, these voices, and children's voices in particular, not happy voices,
Mm.
sad voices, sad stories,
Mm.
pain, fear. It's not easy to listen to what I hear at times, but I've learned to work with it, okay, because it helps me to see a lot more and know a lot more, and also to be helpful where I can be. I'm not a healer. I'm going to make that statement very, very clear. I'm not your healer. I'm the storyteller that helps you remember that you are your healer.
Absolutely.
And we began in the beginning, we're talking about the power of the words, I versus we. So in your solitary confinement, the most important word is I. You know, the I am statements is very, very powerful. I'm sad, what happens? The body responds. I'm angry, body responds. Repeat, I am calm 3 times, and what happens? Feel your body. It's already recognizing because the body will emit your status of your emotional frequency, your mind frequency. And so the body will emit this, will show this to the oncoming world. When I step out of my solitary, I step out into the power of the we, because I'm no longer alone as the unique soul individual. I'm interacting with other individuals. So I cannot carry the statement that I am, that's where ego strikes, being more important than you. The we statement is we, the people.
Mm. That's right.
Okay. And this is where we come together with community, unity, acceptance. Okay. It's like, yeah, you're a different color. And that's what makes you unique. You're a different language. Wow. Okay. You got an accent. Wow. You're unique. We're all unique,
Yeah.
but we're not more important than another.
Right.
And there's another distortion in this work. The separations, the judgments, the non acceptance of others, regardless of age, gender, color, creed, language, culture, belief, walk of life. You are a sovereign being.
Mm.
What you believe is your truth. What
Yes.
you see is your truth. But what we see together becomes coexistence, co creation. So we see the mirror sometimes when we look. We look in judgment, that's a me problem,
Mm-hmm.
not a them problem. So this acceptance of others also has discernment. We don't accept everything. That's normal. You do something that's stupid. I'm sorry to, and I'm not, no, I was going to say I'm sorry to call it that way. No, I'm going to call it for what it is. It's stupid. You've done something in an act of selfishness in a non thinking manner that has impeded somebody else because you're in the all about me. You know what? Fuck the world. Fuck you. Okay. Well, hold on a second. No, there is a call for that when the person that's in front of me is in their mind fuckery, and that is impeding or imposing upon my peace.
Mm.
Okay. You impose upon my peace, then the strength of my fire comes up, and the strength of my voice comes up, and the power of my words come up, not in a demeaning or degrading or belittling way, but I'm going to call it out in a way that allows me to keep my peace because I do come first. And that's not ego. My
Right,
self love comes first. That's not being selfish.
right.
That's self preservation. That's the ability that I will protect myself
Mm,
no matter the cost. And that might seem arrogant, but no, it's not.
mm, it's
That's
not.
strength. That's having a backbone.
Hmm.
That's the ability to say, I can stand in this fire. I'm not going to run from this fire. I'm going to stand in this fire. I can also stand in this fire and decide that I'll walk away from it. And if I have to use a powerful word as strength, then I'll use it with no remorse, no regret. That's the strength of the sovereign flame.
That's what I've
Okay.
needed more of, honestly. Like I've needed a lot more of that in my life. I actually asked my grandmother because my grandmother was one of the most kindest, most gentle, most loving beings. And she passed when I was 8. And it was like it was yesterday because she was the one, I talk about that in my book, but she was the one that I felt like loved me the most and could see me the most. And when she passed away, it was obviously devastating because she was, like I said, the one that I thought that I felt the most love from. Um, and so I am so close to her even today, where I feel her so much, around. And one of the things I've asked her to help me with is I'm like, because yes, she was this loving being, but at the same time, she would tell you in a heartbeat, that's not okay. She like what you're talking about right now. She would call it immediately. She'd be like, that is not okay, you know?
Yep.
And I have told her, like, I know I have that in me, but I told you in the last one that, I have allowed people in my life, even, and I have a podcast I have a podcast called The Rejection Wound because it was very deep for me. And I go down, that was an incredibly hard podcast to do because I'm not here to call people out. That's not why I wanted to do it. Why I wanted to do it is to let myself, be heard and seen and say it's okay for me to feel what I've done because within 20 years of my life, I had, my dad and stepmom chose not to have me in their life. And it ripped me apart because I wanted to be in their life, you know? And, but now I'm like, I realize it turned out to be such a good thing because I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about how to love and honor myself. I learned what my energy actually does do and how it, I realized that they're missing out. They're missing out because I love you, and I will be there for you. I will help you. And yeah, now it's gotten to a point where I feel like both of them need me, and I had to set my boundaries because I've been, like I said, ripped apart for 20 years. And so, like, I'm just like, that has been the hardest thing for me though, because I still have a heart and I just love very, very deeply. But, I actually mentioned that. I don't know why I'm talking about this publicly, but here we are. I talked about to my husband and my daughter, and I was like, should I get in touch with them? I know they need help right now. Should I do that? And my daughter was like, Mama, I love your heart, but come on. She was like, come on now. She's like, and my husband too. They're like, he has stood by this for years, and that's just so hard for me because I do love you. I do forgive you because you only did these things out of your own insecurity. I know that, but I don't know. I'm still battling with it a little bit. But at the same time, it's another level of me loving myself. It really is.
Rejection is one of the harshest things that we face because we weren't born in rejection. We were born in love and acceptance, even
Yeah.
if it only lasted for a couple of minutes and things changed afterwards. The 9 months, okay, gave you that security. You had no worries in the world. You
Mhm.
didn't have to worry about eating. You didn't have to worry about pissing or shitting. You just did it.
Mhm.
Okay. You were in a safe space. And now you experience rejection for the first time. And it's like, why? Why am I not being accepted? Why are you throwing me away? Why are you hurting me? What did I do? Why do I feel like this? And you crumble
Mhm.
and you hold on to this. Why do you hold on to it and carry it with you? And yes, there is the unknowing of their story. No matter how long you've been with them, you will never know the depth of their story
Right.
because you didn't live it. You aren't them. You didn't live their emotions, their teachings. So can we blame them? It depends on the circumstance. But blame doesn't really get you anywhere.
No.
The act is done. What did it teach you? What did it teach you? Who's more important? What they think of you or what you think of yourself?
Mm. And that's
And
what
the
it's about.
return, yeah, the return is whatever the situation of that rejection was, that's a them problem,
Hmm.
not a you problem. You didn't reject yourself, but
No.
you turned the rejection by them into you, and now you became the rejection. You lost yourself.
Hmm. I did.
And so many will say, well, do I talk to them? That's a choice you make. What's what the outcome is, it may not be what you desire it.
Right.
An old story is that sometimes there are things that are left best unsaid. Surrender, let go. Forgiveness is forgive. Two words. I give back what no longer belongs to me. That way I don't hold on to it.
Mm.
I forgive myself for the choices I made. Because I may have made a choice consciously or subconsciously or unknowingly, walked myself right into a shitstorm
Yeah.
because I was blind in a belief. And Osho had said this: beliefs are blindness. Because you say, I believe, then you've put an absolution. You're not open to anything else around you. You run with it. So that is actually blindness versus being in the knowing. I know that's all that's needed. I don't need to pursue validation to
That
be validated.
that part. I was about to say that because that's exactly what it was for me. I realized that. It was like I needed to be validated. When my mom was
Yeah,
still alive, for some reason I needed to be validated from her. But all of this has taught me I don't need anybody's fucking validation. You know what I mean? I have my own. And I
yeah,
absolutely love the being that I am. And it's taken me a long fucking time to realize I hold oh, we talked about this the last time. No, I curate the space for other people. You taught me
yeah,
that. Like I used to say hold space for people, but no, I curate this space for people to be exactly who they are, and I love them exactly where they are. But there comes a
yeah,
time where if that affects me or me validating myself or anything like that, like you said, it's not ego. It is, this is when I'm learning is, that's why I started this whole podcast. And I'm learning that I am love. I really am love. Now, you can, if you want to see my darkest, deepest, most vulnerable, hardest, the shit storms, go read my book. You know, you will see all the things, you know. And I even told, I don't know if I told you that, but I had an affair. I hurt my husband. I ripped him apart. And he came to me and said, "What do you want to do about this?" And I was like, he didn't call me a whore. He didn't call me you slut, you this, you that. He didn't do any of those things. He said he loved me deeply. He saw me. I couldn't see me. I was morphed into this big ball of anger and rage and pain and rejection. And when he met me, when we met, I was just I saw myself. I can look back and see who I was at that point. I was a mess. I was everything I was just in shambles because I had been raped 3 times because all of this stuff had happened to me before he ever even got to me. But he saw me. And I swear to you, I think it was my grandmother that goes, "You know what? We're going to pick this one for her because this one is going to see." And he saw me and he said, "What do you want to do?" And my response to him, okay, first of all, I tried to commit suicide before, or I wanted to, almost did. I didn't try to, I almost did before I got to him to tell him what happened. That's how much I was in turmoil. And so that almost happened. I almost jumped off a cliff. And but I didn't. And I faced it.
What's
I'm still trying to figure that out.
you have
Because
the answer. No, you have the answer.
I
You just need to step into it and see it for what it fully is.
my own love. Um, my
You
own
made a
love.
choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Regardless of the reason, you made a choice.
Yeah.
The worst things you can do to anybody is opt out. That's the
Yeah.
worst thing anybody can do to anybody. No matter what that situation was. And that's a hard call. And there might be people who are not going to like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. You showed weakness. You didn't want to face your fire. You didn't want to face the pain. And in essence, you wanted to hurt others.
Mm,
That's what opting out does. It hurts people
mm,
because it leaves the questions in those that are after why. And there might be one that says, was it something I did? Was it something I said? Is there something that I could have done to help avoid this? And opting out, yeah, this is going to harsh one. Okay, it's, you got no courage. You've let your fire go out, and this hurts,
mm-hmm.
and it might hurt for anybody that's going to hear this. But you know what? Sit in that hurt. Sit in it. Feel it. Face it. Don't run from it.
Yeah.
Because you face it, you become stronger.
Yes.
And there's no
Absolutely.
turning back. No turning back. I know what it's like to get to that point. And you say, you know what? I'm fucking done with this world. I'm done with being hurt. I'm done with being trampled on. I'm done with being the dust that you sweep underneath the fucking carpet. But we don't have the right to do that. Creator didn't give us the choice to give up.
No.
Creator gave us the choice to choose and evolve and be the best version that we can of ourselves.
Mm,
Even when you fall, that
mm,
doesn't mean you're weak. That doesn't mean that You're a nothing. No, you're somebody. It happens. We are faced in a very chaotic world at times. Not the world, chaotic people
Mm.
that have created chaos, distortions, hurts, atrocities, wars, all because of what? Fucking ego is what it is.
Mm.
Corrupted ego, no humanity in you. And so we destroy the living earth out of ego, corruption, greed, power. And
Yeah.
who suffers? Not just people, life on this planet suffers.
Yeah.
The ripple effect, I call it the dominoes. The moment it starts tumbling, what happens with those dominoes? They all tumble. We have a great responsibility as the beings that we are. That first responsibility is to
Yeah.
self love. Self love, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard because we've been programmed to look at the exterior all the time, to find exterior validation, to be approved, to be seen as a somebody. Well, everybody's a somebody, regardless of what you do in your life. Everybody's enough. Everybody is worthy. Everybody is a unique miracle of existence.
Yes.
And if you cannot see that, then you know what? Sit in your shit until you see it.
Agree.
And I mentor people, I am not soft with you. Okay, that doesn't mean I'm an asshole, but I call it out for what it is, what I see.
Hmm.
I've worked with people for over 3 decades, 12-step programs, Big Brother, you name it, all volunteer. I wasn't making money doing this. It had nothing to do with that. It had something to do with humanity, hope, to see that, you know what? I can see you. I see your pain. I see your sorrows. I see your anger because I've lived through mine.
Mm.
I've walked through mine. And I found that the greatest part of who I am is that the path is peace.
Mm.
Peace is everything for me. If you distort my peace, I got something to say about it. And I'll call it out for what it is. You've
Yeah.
seen me in the lives,
Yeah.
you cross that live, you cross that border of disrespect.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm holding it back. The moderators, I got some of the best moderators as far as I'm concerned. They
I
do a
love them.
beautiful job. They
Well,
are so welcoming of people.
is Brenda one of them?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
She's actually
She's a
reached out to me. I actually thought about asking her if she wants to be. I don't know her, but I know her soul, and I thought about asking
beautiful,
her on here.
she's a beautiful soul. She's a beautiful soul. I've seen her from where she was to where she is now. Now she's powerful.
Wow.
She called her power back.
Oof.
Okay. And remembrance of who she is. Even still with the struggles, she's powerful.
Oh my
She's
God.
powerful. Okay. You come into my life and you fuck around, she's got you. And she'll show you where the crows are. Okay. And if the moderators miss, see, the advantage is that when I'm doing at this side of it, I'm the one that's in control of the whole stream.
Hmm.
So in real time, I'm seeing it. On the other side of it, where you are, there's a latency. So by the time the moderator may have seen something, I already saw it.
Hmm.
I give them a window to grab them. If they miss them, then I speak up.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll tell the moderator, don't block or mute because I'm going to make an example out of this. And somebody will say, well, you know what, that's being, you know, being an asshole. No, it's not being an asshole. It's showing I have a backbone and that I'm very fucking strong. I
Mhm.
don't care who you are. You think your words and your idiocies and being an ignoramus is going to derail me? No. And you may, on the other side of it, if you don't know me, you see me, I've sparked with a flame. You might think I'm angry. I'm not angry. You don't want to see my anger. I don't want to see my anger because it's pure hellfire.
Hmm. That's
Okay.
the thing is you've turned that anger. I mean, you've turned that fire. Like that's one of the things that I love about this is that all of that fire and all of that rage and all of the things that you've walked through in your life and have felt that and you turn that into like in your music, in your gates, in your ARC. Like you have put all of that energy into and it is just amazing it just reminds me of how powerful we are to take that because I have always been, had extreme emotions. Like, and one of the things that has helped me and it has been a
Why,
struggle.
okay. Why do you say extreme emotions? You're
It,
having an emotion.
I know, but I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. Like, because I would do these outbursts, and this was before I did my healing work. My kids grew up with a mother who would just outburst, and I would just rage or just go off about something or just go into full-fledged, crying without even knowing what the hell was going on. And I will
Because you were
tell
holding on
you,
to your pain.
what,
You
say
were
that.
holding on. You were holding on to your pain.
Yes, yes. And I didn't know how to regulate. Now, I can just, I know how to do it better. And one of the things that has really helped me a lot, and I'm just going to speak up from my own truth, is astrology and how the different parts. When I found out that I was, Aries, when I'm an Aries moon. Aries is a fire, like fire. But when I dove into the meaning of that, it helped me. I was like, oh, I'm okay. Not only that, but taking the inner child and all the wounds. So I morphed those together and it really helped me. And I was just like, okay, okay, okay. And I began to accept. This was the acceptance of it. If I cry, I'm allow myself to cry. The last one we did, I was crying basically the whole time. You know?
So
And
here,
and
here,
it's okay.
here's how I look at astrology. Okay, a container and a label. That doesn't mean that there isn't a tool in it, but the labeling of it, putting you in and saying I'm like this because of being an Aries, whatever, or a Gemini, whatever,
Hmm.
is throwing away the responsibility of accepting the entirety of yourself.
But it just
You
helped me.
off.
It helped.
I agree with you. You use it as a tool to
Yeah,
help release a trigger and see.
yeah.
But you could have done it, my opinion, is that you could have done it without the labeling of the identification of a container of a group of people, because that group of Aries has been determined to be this by whose knowings, whose knowings, because an ideology. So now we throw the 13th month. Are you a true Aries? Because if you're on the 13th month calendar, 28-day cycles, that might not make sense anymore.
Yeah,
Our ancestors read the stars
yeah,
as much as they read the earth,
yeah.
but they weren't greeting you and asking you, what your astrological sign was. They greeted you as the person you were. They
Hmm.
didn't categorize you.
Right.
So I'm not saying that that's not helpful.
Mm.
Whatever it was in the zodiac gave you something to see yourself. But what I am saying is that the label was not required. The container was not required.
Yeah. And I
That
do.
would be the same thing. That would be the same thing. I'll give you another analogy of this. Is that addictions? So somebody that is, I'm an alcoholic. No, you're not.
Right.
You're a being having a human experience, learning to be a human being.
Hmm.
The substance is 15% of the problem. 85% of the problem is you. You
Yeah.
chose a substance, escapism, avoidism, whatever. Okay. But you are not the alcoholic or the drug addict or the cocaine man or the narcotic man or whatever.
Hmm.
That's the label. You are a being having a human experience. And the mistake you made was as you didn't see yourself.
Right.
You saw something else to run to rather than run to yourself.
Right.
So if I stand up as a mentor at a 12-step program, I stand up as I am a perfectly imperfect being having a human experience. I am not an alcoholic. I am not a drug addict. I am not any of the labels. I am, by my given name, Gary. That's it in all simplicity.
Yeah.
So when we step into the simplicity rather than the complexity of the mind fuckery, the whys, the wherefores, the how comes, the labels, the dogmas, the stigmas, we begin to remember who we truly are.
Yeah.
Who we truly are. And we are a miracle of life. You're
Yes.
breathing,
Yes.
breathing, and it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to get angry. It's okay to be sad, but it's not okay to hurt another because you're hurting.
Right. That's right.
That's where we can fine tune. We can see that I didn't need to be like that. You have a 3-second window of opportunity in any interaction. That 3-second window of opportunity gives you the power to choose to stay or leave. So, in an example of a relationship where somebody's coming at you, belittling, demeaning, and hurtful words, in that 3-second window, you could say one thing and use one action that gave you the 3 seconds to turn around and walk away. And if need be, give them the middle finger. And it's as simple as stop. 3 seconds. 3 seconds. Or ouch. What does the word ouch do automatically to anybody that hears it? It signifies pain.
Hmm.
A moment of, okay, 3 seconds. You come at me attacking, I will say stop. I might say ouch, or I'm going to turn around and say fuck off and walk away because I will not lower myself. I will not allow you to take my energy, to make me feel lower and
Mm.
make you feel superior.
Right.
Nobody is superior to me.
That's right.
Nobody. And nobody is inferior to me. I don't see you as inferior or superior. I see it as an opportunity to learn something
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
even if it's pain.
Yeah.
That was the hardest one for me to come to acceptance with, was is that pain that that person was issuing and that I was absorbing and becoming. Could have stopped. Could have stopped.
Hmm.
And where I am in my life, you're not going to hurt me. You can try, but you're not going to hurt me
No.
because I got no fear. I don't fear death. Why am I going to fear words? I know words can be hurtful. I know the power of the word.
Will you talk
As a
about
word,
that a little bit about the I know you had three near death experiences, or or is it NDEs? I don't know, but you've seen the
yeah,
other side, and that's why you're not afraid of death. And I would love for you to talk about that. I have a lot of
absolutely not.
people that really like I hear it all the time that if you're not a Christian, then you're going to go to hell and all this stuff. And I've been obsessed with NDEs. I've been obsessed with listening to people who have crossed over and had nothing but love on the other side, nothing but peace. And my husband's one of them. He had a heart attack. Thankfully, it didn't do anything. It didn't do any damage or anything like that. But he was pissed off that they resuscitated him. He was like, "What?
Mhm.
What did you do that for?" He said he had never felt so much peace in his life. But anyway, people, I know that's a stigma of, like if you're not a Christian or if you don't believe this way, and that I know all of that's bullshit, and that really all of that does piss me off. It really does because it's bullshit. But I would love to hear some of your stories. Can you dive into that? Or do you
So
feel
here's,
like,
oh, yeah, yeah, we will. Here's a couple of things I'm going to say. One, there is no hell. You create hell.
yes,
You create demons. You create fear. And to anybody that comes at me and says, fear the wrath of God, I'm going to ask you what dog you're praying to. Spell God backwards.
damn,
What
let's
hell,
go.
what hellhound are you praying to? There's over 6,000 religions out there. Some of them, probably all of them, have a little bit of some guidance of truth in them. But using them for war, using them for fear, and
Yes.
telling people to repent your sins and get down on your hands and knees or you're going to go to hell, I got two words for you: fuck off.
Agreed.
Because there is no hell. There is no pearly gate with a council up there that's going to judge you. You're going to judge yourself. You're going to walk across a rainbow bridge, and every step that you take, you're going to have a reflection back upon the life that you existed in.
Yes.
Every pain, every success, you will see it all. It will play back to you. If you don't accept it, chances are you're not going to feel the depth of the peace and love until you find the acceptance on that step of that rainbow bridge that allows you now to walk into it. And this is where we can come into what is called a soul trap. The soul trap is that I'm in between both worlds because I'm fighting. I'm not in acceptance of where I am. So in my first near death experience, just like all three of them, the official ones. I mean, there's others too, but anyways, okay. The first one at the age of 9 was, yeah, I don't recommend anybody falling through ice in the middle of winter time and being frozen solid. And I mean, I was frozen solid. Okay, my brother, a couple of friends that were there, we were playing around with a hockey puck. I decided, okay, the hockey puck, got out into the edge of the ice in the middle of the river. Nobody wants to go get it. I want to still keep playing. I walked out to get the hockey puck. Ice broke. I went straight through. At first, my brother and friends thought it was a joke. I can imagine from their perspective at the moment, see someone go walking, some poof, disappear. There is maybe a funny side to it, a little bit. But the danger was, yeah, you know what?
Dang it. Are you still there? He may have had a call or something. No? It might be the internet. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't know what happened.
It just stopped at the moment that
You had fallen.
spirit works in many different ways.
Yes, it does. You had fallen through the ice.
So
Are you there?
point what I was trying to say was is that the person that greeted me, and I'm not going to go into who, but the person that greeted me, I argued with, I swore at, I stayed peaceful. I said, no, it's not your time.
Hmm.
It's like, fuck me, get away. What? I'm 9 years old. I had a voice. Then all of a sudden, zap, I'm back. I woke up in an ice cold, because that's what the doctor, my mother, got a hold of. And the doctor was, we can't get to you right away. It was middle of winter time. There was all sorts of a number of reasons. And so to this day, I still have a phobia of cold water, which is a trigger. I mean, I acknowledge it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't like cold. And there's a reason why. It's like I almost froze to death.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Second experience, T-bone accident. I saw the vehicle coming. I saw the accident happen before it actually happened in a flat. And as it hit, I think actually left before the vehicle hit.
Wow.
And when I came back again after same person I met, same situation, it's like, Dean, a little more experience, a little bit more rebel. I still didn't want him because I felt the same peace and love and just everything, everything. It was like, I'm not coming back. Same thing. Not my time again. Act two, surrounded by her. My buddy's all cut up. He tried to get, move out of the way, jumped up. As the vehicle hit, he went right through the side window. But we were on our way to an AC/DC concert. There was nothing stopping us from getting to that concert. As gimped up as we were, there was nothing stopping us from getting to that concert. So we made it to the concert. We looked like black and blue. We had tape all over us from cuts. It was just, yeah, crazy story. Point of it is that I'm not afraid of new weight. It's absolute solution.
My inter Wait
No hurt, no pain.
one second. My internet is really messing up. And I want to hear this. And that's what heard the first story, heard the second story. Um okay, wait. Let's I'm gonna we're gonna get out of this and I'm gonna come right back in with you. Will you tap on
I've
that?
got, yeah, I've got about another, I'd say 30 minutes maximum,
Okay.
and then I have to head out.
Okay.
Okay. So what did you want to do? Just get out and come back in?
Yes, get out. Give me about just a couple minutes, and then yeah, come back in.
Okay.
Okay, I'll see you in a minute. Let's see. Ooh, where am I at? Glasses. Stop recording.